Hey PCC, it's Gary, sheltered in place. And today I want to bring you an encouragement from God's Word and then an important update regarding our worship gatherings whenever we get out of this pandemic. First, the encouragement from God's Word. I want you to hear this and don't forget this, whether we're in a pandemic or not. Here it is. God is a shelter in our storms. God never promised a storm-free life. Jesus actually promised just the opposite in John 16:33. What God always promised was this: I will be with you in the storms. The Bible is full of men and women who walked through incredible storms, and God met them there and got them through. And you know what? He'll get us through too. I want to take you to a storm. In 2 Chronicles chapter 20, I was just reading this morning and it lifted my spirits. I think it will bring value to you as well. There was a king named Jehoshaphat, and he was facing an enemy, the Moabites, which was formidable in and of itself. But then the Moabites did something else. They formed an alliance with two other enemies. Suddenly, three nations are coming against Israel, and it was more than Jehoshaphat could handle. And he did three things. Here's the first thing he did in 2 Chronicles 20. He committed to seek God. Verse 3. He set himself to seek the Lord, it says. Secondly, he called Israel or Judah to a fast. If you got my email on Monday, you received a call to that very thing. Some 20 churches, more by the day, are coming together around the Bay Area saying, let's come together as the church, and on Wednesday, let's fast together. If you didn't get my email, go to our website and sign up for the weekly email, and you can see all about that. The third thing he did was this. Jehoshaphat cried out to God in prayer, verse 6 to 12. Literally, here's what he said in verse 12. We have no power against this enemy. We don't know what to do. I love this line. We don't know what to do. Verse 12, 2 Chronicles 20. But our eyes are on you. You know what God did in the storm? He spoke back. He said to Jehoshaphat, don't be afraid or discouraged because of this vast army, for the battle's not yours, it's God's. Jehoshaphat so totally believed and took God at his word. You know what he did? He brought the choir and put them at the front of Israel's army, of Judah's army, and they went into war. His worship was a weapon. His weapon was a melody, as the worship song says. Jehoshaphat knew his battle was a spiritual one, not just a physical one, so he worshiped his way right into the war. And you know what happened? The Hebrews never lifted a sword. The enemies turned on themselves, and the battle was over. Here's what I take from this, and let's learn a lesson from King Jehoshaphat. One, I learned I need to set myself daily in the midst of this storm, seek God. Before I seek my news source, before I find out what the Dow Jones is going to do that day, before I hear news from around the world, BBC, CNN, Fox News, MSN, whatever news source you go to, I want to challenge you, go first to God. Secondly, out of that, he declared a fast. And again, I want to encourage you every Wednesday, fast. Fast. Give up food, give up media, give up something so you can seek God. It's a spiritual horsepower to our prayers. The Bible promises fasting and prayer comes with great effect. Third thing he did, he moved on his day expecting God to fight for him. So seek God daily, first. Secondly, encourage you, fast in some way. And then third, move in expectancy, trusting that God's going to meet you because he's a shelter for life storms. You do that, I think you're going to see God do some amazing things in the midst of this pandemic that we're in. Now, quickly, before the announcement about our gatherings, people have asked, what are we doing about our gatherings? Before we went under a shelter-in-place order, we had talked about moving from 4 to 3 gatherings. We sent a letter out after a town hall meeting saying, you know what, we're going to slow that down. And I want you to know everything is on hold. Everything is on hold. We don't know what we're going to look like coming out of this. We don't know how long we're sheltering in place. And so I can promise you this, when we come back together, We will enter into a discernment process and seek God to see what we look like on the other end of this pandemic. We are more committed than ever to taking the gospel, empowering the generations, and going to the people with this good news. But right now, it's all on hold, okay? Listen, I look forward to being with you again on Friday and then again on this Sunday as we gather together. We're meeting to always make that a better experience for you. God bless you, PCC. Let God be your shelter in the midst of this storm.